Pop Culture Pastor.
All right, Cody. I've been thinking there's a certain kind of bravery of knowing when to call it quits, when to hang up your hat,
When to fold them.
when to retire gracefully, fade into the sunset like a legend, and yes, knowing when to fold them and when to hold them, when to walk away.
When run.
And so this is the last podcast ever. Sorry, everybody. No, I'm just kidding.
It's what Kenny Rogers would have wanted.
Kenny Rogers hated us. Everyone knew this. He said, those guys. No, we're not going anywhere because you might say we have something in common with Disney.
Oh,
We don't know when to quit.
exactly.
Because apparently, if you're a beloved cinematic icon with even the faintest pulse of marketability, they will not let you rest. No, sir. Do you know where this is going, Cody?
Does it have to do with a state?
It does.
Yeah, I know this news story.
Big rumors busting out this week that Indiana Jones, archaeologist, adventurer, snake hater, part-time supernatural artifact wrangler,
Guy that hides out in refrigerators.
he's getting the reboot treatment again, I guess, sort of. I mean, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is not really a reboot, but it took so long that it was sort of like rebooting it.
The franchise had already been retired and glorified as one of the best trilogies of all time, and then they brought it back from the dead.
So apparently somebody asked people on the website, is it Dish Trackers? Dish something? It's like some Disney fan website. And asked them, do they have any more plans for Indiana Jones? And essentially what they said was the announcement could come as early as next year's D23 Expo. That Disney reportedly wants to let the franchise, quote, rest for a little bit before officially moving it forward and recasting and rebooting Indiana Jones.
Get that guy from the Solo movie.
That poor guy!
Yes.
Oh my goodness, I'm surprised he's still alive. After that, he was like the most respectable part of that movie. And somehow everything landed on him like it was his idea.
Well, get him.
Aaron Eisenreich, I don't remember his name. He's on Ironheart.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah. So clearly things are looking up for my man.
Him and old Harrison Ford made it into Marvel 2025. Coincidence? I think not.
Yeah. The last film, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, as we all know, flopped in maybe the largest way. Oh, I should say, this is Pop Culture Pastor. Jackson's over here looking at me like, are you going to let me in? Or
Nope.
He's like knocking on the door. He's like, like, hello. This is Pop Culture Pastor, the podcast. My name's Dave. Cody's here.
I am.
And also Sir Jackson, Geek of the Round Table.
Present.
And no jupe today.
I got to change it up every once in a while.
All right. And of course, he was here last week as we Be Kind rewound a great Jurassic movie, the original.
Citizen Kane.
And he was with us as we watched, well, this one.
The new Citizen Kane.
And we'll talk about that later. But right now, we're talking about Indiana Jones. Dial of Destiny. The budget was anywhere. I love that we don't actually know. The budget was anywhere from 295 to 387 million.
That's a big gap.
That is a pretty big gap. I could live off that gap.
Like, you could just say 295 to 300 mil, and I'd be like, okay, that seems reasonable. There's like an extra 87 million that's not accounted for.
There are unconfirmed rumblings and reports that say it was actually much closer to 500 mil after all the marketing was said and done.
And they didn't have a cool popcorn bucket.
No. It made 384 million worldwide, so there's really nothing else you can say, but it's a bomb, maybe of historic proportions. And so that was Harrison Ford's final outing. Director James Mangold said the underperformance, quote, hurt. Well, yeah.
He should have stopped at Logan.
Harrison Ford responded a bit more casually by saying stuff happens, only he didn't say stuff.
Well, he was down for the movie, so...
What do you guys think? Who could realistically fill Harrison Ford's shoes and whip and hat without losing the magic? Is there anybody, like, is this even possible?
Oh, I know where Jackson's already going.
Is this, you can't say Kurt Russell's way too old.
No.
Is he going to say Kurt Russell's son?
No.
Well, tell me who, and now I'm really curious.
I'm guessing he's going to say Glenn Powell.
I mean...
Dave agrees.
Like, what are the other choices? Like, to me, you go older with Chris Pratt, who that was the rumor for years back before Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, was that right when Chris Pratt was hitting big with Guardians again, with the first Guardians, there was all these rumors that they were going to reboot Indiana Jones with Chris Pratt. And at the time, I thought, hey, that's not a half bad idea. He does have some of the same characteristics of a young Harrison Ford. Glenn Powell's interesting. Jackson, sell me on it.
I was actually going to say Kurt Russell, so that's what makes it so much more fun.
Kurt Russell can't.
I feel like if they had gone with Chris Pratt at the time that he was really everything that he was touching turned to gold, I get that. I don't know that it's that way anymore. I feel like everybody has kind of soured on him, and he's maybe found his niche in kind of that Amazon Prime realm, but Glenn Powell's on the rise. We just had the Running Man trailer drop, and it's definitely something that's intriguing to me. I'm old enough to be loyal to the original, so I'm going to have to maybe divorce myself from that, but he's charismatic. He's not your Ryan Reynolds mean-spirited, quippy as much. He's just kind of more lovable. He's got the physical traits, good looking guy, gets the female audience in there. So
I don't know why I did that.
Dave agrees.
Well, okay, but I do think he has to be younger, because then you can hit those, you can still put the stories back like pre-World War II. If you stay there.
So I got someone.
Oh, okay.
Besides John Krasinski.
John Krasinski?
Just because we have already seen him basically do it.
Yeah.
But what I am actually suggesting, and I mean, he'd have to finish the Dune franchise first, but...
Oh, no.
Timothée.
What?
I was expecting
Chalamet?
Glenn Howerton.
Oh, yeah.
No, bro.
I
can't
The
handle.
dude's young. The dude is a phenomenal actor. And... he looks like an up-and-coming archaeologist.
I mean, yeah, but he doesn't look like the guy that could pistol whip a Nazi.
At the same time, I don't know if you want to go super close to Harrison Ford.
Okay, fair.
So if you go opposite casting, just go and get the home run hitter.
Do you guys think that the IP is still valuable? Like, that it could be, or is it wrecked?
Well, I think the original 3 you're still going to make bank off of, and you just might as well cash those royalty checks.
Because there is a video game that's out now that I've been told is good. In fact, my cousin, who's a video game expert, shout out Will, he says that the Indiana Jones and the Great Circle game has like the best story since the originals as a video game.
Probably so.
So a reboot, this comes with risks. You did reference Solo, a Star Wars story.
I did.
With Alden Ehrenreich. That's his name.
Sure.
Alden Ehrenreich. But like, you could do something like the Bond franchise, where you do different Indiana Jones actors, and then you can like change up the feel of the stories, the characters, because like Pierce Brosnan, well, if you go way back, like you go to like Sean Connery and then Roger Moore in like the 70s, those were like silly and goofy. And then you get into the 80s with Timothy Dalton and Pierce Brosnan, and by the time you get to Pierce Brosnan in like the early 90s, they have more of a we're taking this sort of seriously, but we're retaining like still that loosey-goosey 60s Bond vibe.
And then Daniel Craig's like, eat fish.
And then, Daniel Craig, they did the Dark Knight trilogy with it. What if we did it, but did it super gritty?
I was here for it.
I mean, I guess it gets old after a while. It's like, next thing you know, we're going to get, Dora the Explorer. Like, what if we did it, but we did it super gritty?
I'm here for it.
Dora. So she pulls out a machine gun out of that backpack. Blows boots away.
What
I'm
about
sorry, Boots.
Swiper?
No, it's all about friendly fire.
So she's a broken woman after losing boots.
Here's the last question. Should it stay in the early to mid 20th century? Or do you jump forward in time and try to make it a more present day story with the character as he would be now? Like if he was born later. You know what I'm saying?
So technology is a thing that may hinder an Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah, because they don't archaeology the same way.
Yep. And so then you have to get kind of whimsical and go the route of that Apple TV movie,
Fountain of Youth.
And that it's like, oh, there's hidden clues, and this is the Da Vinci Code all over again.
By the way, it's so fitting that you already forgot the name of that movie.
I am saving you some key talking points, Dave. But anyway, like I think that it would be hindered, and it wouldn't be as adventurous. Also, you have to suspend a lot of belief, like, oh, he's on the run and no one's going to find him in this world where we're constantly on camera.
Yeah. Yeah, you lose all the pulpy goodness of Indiana Jones, the original feel of it, the adventurous tone of it. And yeah, I don't know how you don't end up like Fountain of Youth, which we reviewed that. Go back and listen to that pod. That'll tell you what we think of it. Which,
Citizen Kane.
No. It was just fine, but it was very like set piece to set piece. The set pieces were super cool, but the story kind of falls flat.
Mm-hmm. Timu National Treasure. That's what it looked like to me.
You're not wrong.
It was a slightly better quality than
Yeah,
Timu.
that's the thing. Is like you've got great acting presence. You've got someone great behind the camera. It's just the story is just not worthy of them.
Well, isn't National Treasure?
It's almost like we're going to talk about another movie here in a little while that something similar happens.
Fantastic Four.
How dare you, sir? Now I'm mad. Podcast over. That's ridiculous. All right. I think we're done. Here.
Okay.
Let's go play the movie game because I need time to mellow out. We'll be right back. All right, y'all missed it, but I accidentally spit on Cody.
Oh, you come with hot takes, and then the people
Suffer
spit
the
at
consequences.
One day when we get big enough, we'll have like the outtakes of what happens in between our recording sessions.
Yes.
Where we have even bigger fights and arguments, and this one involved me getting a little too excited, and I spit towards Cody on accident.
And then Cody hulked out.
Does Cody ever hulk out?
Yes.
Cody would ruin a lot of his fancy t-shirts. What t-shirt is that you're wearing today? What is that?
It's a Taylor Swift themed 4th of July shirt.
So Long London?
Yep, that's the name of a Taylor Swift song.
Oh, okay.
So
Cody is a Swiftie.
You know me.
Jackson, you a Swiftie too?
Ish,
yeah.
Well, now that all versions are Taylor's versions, he can listen to the originals again.
Oh, he wouldn't listen to the new ones.
Yeah.
And all the Swifties, they were like the most organized army in the world. They wouldn't listen to the old ones because they didn't want to give Scooter money.
Jackson was like, "Take my money, Scooter."
Is Spotify giving money to people? Or is that
yeah. They're giving tens and tenths of cents.
I was going to say, I haven't bought them on iTunes.
All right. It's time for the movie game. Everyone's favorite part of the show.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean the listeners, not you guys.
I was going to say the main segment's usually really good.
They like listening to you guys struggle.
Cody
what
has
can I say?
sworn vengeance after last time.
Yeah, we're coming off of Jackson was the last guest to play the movie game. And so Cody's out for revenge. Should we switch it up? Do you want to let Cody go first?
No.
No? Okay. Cody says like, nuh-uh. So Jackson, in my hand, I'm holding 3 movie profiles from Rotten Tomatoes. A terrible movie, or as they would say, a rotten movie, a mid-range movie, and a certified fresh movie. Which one would you like to try and solve?
Terrible's never led me astray up to now.
Oh boy. Could be now. So here's refresh the rules of the movie game for everybody here as Cody gets something to write on because he thinks he's going to hit Pirates of the Caribbean 2 one day on this. So he can try and guess Jackson's answer. First level, I'll give you the critic score and the year it came out. Second level, you'll get the second build actor. Third level, the audience score. The fourth level, you'll get the first build actor. And finally, on the fifth level, you get the blurb. And if you haven't figured it out by then, you just lose.
Okay. So Jackson, here's your movie. Level number 1 with a critic score of 23%. This movie came out in 1998. 1998, 23%.
All right, let's go level 2.
It is not Ed Wood, as Cody guesses. Ed Wood, critics liked Ed Wood.
I know, but I have to keep guessing it.
Good guess. Okay, in what may be... Oh, this is the second build actor. I always forget. So level 2, second build actor in a 1998 movie. The second build actor is Nicole Kidman.
Jackson knows this.
Kidman. This is back when Nicole was second build.
The Peacemaker?
It is not Peacemaker. Good guess. With Clunes. It is not him. 3 is the audience score, and this may be the biggest difference between a critic score and audience score I've ever seen. Critic score of 23% for this 1998 movie with Nicole Kidman. Audience, 73%. Audiences like this movie.
All right, let's go next level.
All right. Level 4, the first build actor. We've already said Nicole Kidman. The first build actor is Sandra Bullock.
Practical magic.
It is practical magic.
Sandy Bullock?
Sandy Bullock, America's sweetheart. Not to be confused with Nicole Kidman, who is, in fact, Australia's sweetheart. Not ours. Not Scientology's either. That was a Tom Cruise joke. All right, Cody. Your choices are a mid-range movie or a certified fresh movie. You have to solve it by level 4 to force a playoff.
I will go give me quality.
Quality. He's going for the certified fresh. Level 1, this movie certified fresh at 91% critic score. Came out in 1987.
Terms of Endearment.
Good guess, but wrong.
Son of a gun!
Boy, he just pulled out that 80s movie and a good one, too. Like it was nothing. Second, level 2, second build actor, Nancy Allen.
Tim's wife.
No, I'm pretty sure it's not. And I have no idea. I mean, I know who she is in this movie. I don't think she's very recognizable.
Groundhog Day.
It is not Groundhog Day. 91%, 1987, Nancy Allen. The third is the audience score. Goes down a little bit to 84%.
Oh, woof.
Not much there. Not much there. You can guess another Nancy Allen movie, though, if you'd like.
Gremlins 2.
Hey, you know what? She might have been in Gremlins, too. I'll have to look that up, because that would be amazing. No. Here we go. Level 4.
Jackson's going to win this one.
For the tie, there's a chance here. In this 1987 movie, 91%, 84% audience with Nancy Allen, the first build actor, Peter Allen.
Peter Allen?
You don't know? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, this is a misprint. This is a misprint on this card. I'm sorry. That's not his name. It's Peter Weller. Peter Weller.
Oh, I got this one.
Oh, that didn't even help me.
I was like, wait a minute. That's not right.
Can I dunk on him and get it?
You may. If he does not get this, he does not know his Peter Weller. I can tell by the look on his face.
So Let's see. 1987, 2 years before my existence.
I can't believe the misprint on this card. That's crazy.
You know what? We're just going to go with Beethoven.
It is not Beethoven. Jackson, tell him what it is.
Dead or alive, you're coming with me. RoboCop.
It is RoboCop.
Oh, yeah.
Peter Weller.
I knew his name was Peter.
Yeah.
I didn't know the last name.
All right. No tiebreaker necessary. Jackson, 2 in a row.
Yeah.
Cody's on a losing streak.
I am.
I keep waiting for the time when you're going to make me play this.
I thought I had won it with terms of endearment.
That would have been amazing.
At what point am I on a dynastic run?
We're going to have to get past like a couple for sure.
How many did UCLA win? You got to get to John Wooden territory in this game.
Yes.
Old school Boston Celtics. You got to win 11.
Yep. All right. We'll be right back to talk about Jurassic World Rebirth.
Greetings, Dave's Blurb Voice here. In a world where we do movie reviews on a podcast, you need to be aware that we are going to spoil the nerd out of this movie. We know that spoilers aren't everyone's cup of tea, so if that's you, go ahead and hit pause, see the movie, and then come back and listen to this thrilling podcast later. The Pop Culture Podcast movie review starts now.
All right, so we watched Jurassic World Rebirth because apparently, like the dinosaurs themselves, this franchise refuses to stay extinct.
We had to be baptized into it.
So let me set the scene for you. You got a genetically modified dino that looks like someone hit randomize in the creature generator. A pharmaceutical exec who has the emotional range of a PowerPoint presentation. And a plot that reads like someone stitched together Jurassic Park, Lost, and an episode of Grey's Anatomy. What do you think I'm right there? He says about right?
I think mixed with C-SPAN.
Yeah, I'm trying to be funny, but I was trying to put things together that actually made sense. And look, guys, right off the bat, I want to care. I went into this movie and I'm like, I want to care about this movie. I miss caring about the Jurassic series. Especially after we Be Kind rewound the original, which is great. But when the movie's asking me to emotionally invest in a heart disease cure developed from giant Frankenstein dinosaurs, I think we might have gone too far into the lab. But we'll let you guys decide.
It hit home.
All the heartfelt moments. There are moments in the movie, though. There are sparks. There's Scarlett Johansson, who is like the most competent human in the franchise since maybe Laura Dern.
Probably.
Jesse Plemons. Yeah, right. He isn't actually in this movie, but he will be when we get to recast it. Just a little preview there. So let's dive into it. We're going to talk about what worked, what mutated beyond recognition, and whether Jurassic World Rebirth actually earns its second chance at life. First, we should warn you about spoilers.
Spoilers.
This is the quickest we've ever come out with a movie review because of the holiday. It came out on Wednesday. We thought, hey, if we go see this movie, we can get this out there before the holiday. And so as it turns out, this is going to be out there quick. So we understand probably won't be a lot of you listening right away because you probably want to go see this movie.
That's on you.
But, we should warn you, we are going full spoilers. Don't watch this if you don't, or don't listen to this if you don't want to be spoiled. Also, this episode might be a little rougher than the norm because not leaving ourselves a lot of time to edit or do anything.
Well, I'm going to be on my game this one, so you're welcome.
I will take the time to edit all the parts out where Cody has a grand mal seizure and there's just dead air as we revive him. No, I'm just kidding. That doesn't happen. Okay, broad take for this movie. Set 5 years after Jurassic World Dominion, The Earth's remaining dinosaurs are kind of quarantined to equatorial areas and islands.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Zora Bennett, played by Scarlett Johansson, is a mercenary-ish.
Special ops.
Alongside mercenary-ish Duncan Kincaid, played by Mahershala Ali.
Blade.
Who's always wonderful. And paleontologist Dr. Henry Loomis, played by...
That one guy.
That guy. Jonathan Bailey.
Don't ask me to name another Jonathan Bailey movie.
They are hired by pharmaceutical rep. I just love that I said that in a Jurassic Park movie. Pharmaceutical rep Martin Krebs, played by Rupert Friend of Homeland fame.
Yep.
To extract DNA samples from 3 colossal dinosaurs, a Mosasaurus, a Titanosaurus, and a Quetzalcoatlus, which all sound fake to me.
Very real.
Are they?
Well,
I think the Mosasaurus is definitely real. I hadn't heard. What's the Titanosaurus? Is that a new thing?
I think it was real.
This movie franchise has single-handedly make my youngest son believe that there is such thing as an Indominus Rex.
There is.
There is not. It's totally made up. As this movie literally points out.
Jurassic World is factual.
Their covert mission on the forbidden island of Saint Hubert goes sideways. Of course it goes sideways.
It always does.
When they encounter a shipwrecked family and discover the abandoned InGen Lab's horrific experiments. Was there a 6-limbed mutant Distortus Rex?
Yeah.
Is that the bad guy? Is that the bad one at the end?
I think that's
the one that's
the D-Rex.
The one that's like, I thought it was the one that was stuck in the container.
That's the one at the end, right? Did it have multiple arms? Did I miss that?
It has like the 2 arms that were just T-Rex arms for show. And 2 big ones that he was crawling with.
Yeah.
Oh, like that totally went over my head. I missed that completely.
Well, it's because you were wanting to see the OG T-Rex.
Well,
at the end, but
we did get to see it.
Not
briefly.
Not like at the very, very end.
No, not at the end. We also get hybrid raptor pterosaur mutadons.
Yeah.
Which, oh brother.
It made sense to me.
Chaos ensues as the groups struggle to escape, powering their getaway with flare distractions, run-ins with river-riding T-Rexes, showdowns at the old facility, and plenty of dino ex machina.
There's also little Easter eggs along the way.
There is a lot of Easter eggs. We could talk about them. But seriously, though, does every action set piece end with Deus Ex Machina in this movie? That's what I want to ask.
Maybe.
Are they saved by happenstance almost every time?
95% of the time.
Okay.
I would have to rewatch it to tell you 100.
Interesting tidbits about the movie. There was an alternate ending. Are you aware that originally Mahershala Ali's character, Duncan Kincaid, was scripted to die? In the script, he dies.
Jackson and I were here for it.
Seems obvious when you see the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Because I thought for sure he was dead. But he comes back.
And I'm like, oh, he outran this thing and it's not chasing after him and like everything's okay. Okay.
After studio input, i.e., if we do a sequel, we need him, and audience testing, the team filmed a new ending where he survives.
I have thoughts.
Yeah. They shot extensively on location. That's the thing about this movie is there's some beautiful scenery. They do a lot more. They go back to like the old movie style of shooting more on location, less green screen. They shot in Thailand, Malta, and the UK. They had one memorable set that they built, which was the cliff scene. That was an artificial cliff that they used for the rappelling scene. That was built in London Sky Studios, complete with a waterfall composited in from footage shot in India. How does that? I don't even know how you do that. But like they shot footage of a waterfall and then they were able to, what do you, 3D print it?
I don't know. I'm not a cinematographer, Dave.
That's kind of wild. Scarlett Johansson and Jonathan Bailey endured what they said was a pretty physically brutal stunt sequence in that rappelling scene down that cliff into the pterosaur mutadon, whatever the heck it is, nests. They had heavy-duty harnesses, high-pressure water cannons. They said it basically made every take this test of endurance. And yes, they also mentioned that their stunt harnesses delivered week-long wedgies, much like Cody's high school career.
Not like my high school career.
Cody was the wedgie giver, not the wedgie receiver.
Exactly.
All right. So, yeah, I mean, essentially, that's the movie. It's a long heist / then escape type movie. I will say that the way they delivered the way they got the dino DNA was kind of clever and interesting. But yeah, that's the movie.
So I feel they shifted genres from at the very beginning to where they ended up.
Oh yeah, that's a broad take.
And I wish they would have stuck with how they kind of presented it at the beginning.
Which was?
As a horror movie.
Oh, as a horror, yeah.
Because quite literally, like, they show you the logo of Jurassic World at the beginning to, like, start the film. And it's, like, done in eerie fashion. And, like, it's right after some deaths. And it's like, okay. They're leaning into, like, Jaws is actually a horror movie, according to Jackson. They're leaning into Jurassic World being a horror franchise.
Yeah, well, we mentioned they changed the Mahershala Ali character's outcome based on these preview audiences. Do you think studios are doing that too much?
I think it takes away from the chance of something being amazing. I think what you get left with is mediocre.
Yeah.
And they know people will like mediocre. They won't love it, but they'll like it and they'll pay for it. Where if you swing and you miss, then you're not going to get as much money as mediocre. But if you swing and you hit a grand slam, you are looking at an all-time cinematic masterpiece. And not that this film was ever going to be that, but this could have been something completely different than the rest of them and been the thing that rejuvenates the franchise.
Yeah, I think studios, they lean too hard on instant. Like, what's this going to do at the box office? Where in the olden days, if a movie was good, it always had the chance to do stuff on, like, you know, back in the day, VHS, then DVD, and then now streaming. And, like, keep making money because it's good. But now they water it down so much, it's like milquetoast.
Oh, I feel like a lot of it is everything needs to be a franchise. Everything has sequel properties and sequel potential, so they're afraid to aggressively pull the trigger. And that's how you end up having, 7 or 8 people live through the entire movie because it's, well, we may want to have further adventures with these people.
Yeah. So yeah, none of the big three bite it, but a lot of the other ones do. Well, no one from the family, which is absurd.
I was going to say, name anybody that doesn't make it through the movie other than the obvious one.
It's all the trained professionals that die, not the random family that happens to be, sailing through.
Well, when you are a sailing family, Dave, you're prepared for all things.
All right. Jackson, what's good about this movie?
Dolores.
Yep.
Dolores. Are you referring to the little Grogu-like dinosaur that becomes a companion to the little kid?
Absolutely. I'm a sucker for cute animal sidekicks, but I also appreciated that Dolores doesn't really have any impact on the outcome at all. This isn't, Dolores comes in and saves the day.
Yeah.
Or,
unlike Grogu.
Knocks the raptor off the ledge at the end or anything like that. It was just, you let it, let a character be cute and endearing, but not this, saves the day type character. So that was a positive. And
I was ready to be super cynical, but you won me over with that. I think I'm okay with it now because you're right. It doesn't affect any outcome. It's just there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cody, what else is good?
I will start off with the best thing about this movie. And that was the Odyssey trailer before. It was so phenomenal.
Wow. We're crushing this movie.
Chris Nolan did an amazing job putting together like a minute-long preview of what will be a summer blockbuster next year.
For those of you who have not been listening long, Cody is a Christopher Nolan superfan.
Yes. I'm pretty sure he can do no wrong.
But are you implying there's nothing good about this movie?
No, I was saying that's the best thing.
That's the best thing. Okay.
Like, if you're going for a cinematic masterpiece...
I'm just surprised you didn't say the cast. Which
Not
is usually
yet.
your first answer. It's visually compelling, right? Like the set, the cinematography, the places they filmed, it's all visually compelling, which I think sometimes gets lost in these newer action flicks. Like The Fountain of Youth, one of our complaints was like the end set piece, or one of my complaints was the end set piece didn't seem like it was that compelling, which it kind of should be.
Or should it?
But visually, the film looks good to me, and I thought it was done well. Jackson, what else is good?
I'm going to go with Jonathan Bailey.
The new guy.
Yeah, he was quirky and a bit awkward, but he wasn't completely incapable. I don't really like when they have those characters that just run around, screaming and needing to be saved every 5 seconds. So I was glad, because he didn't start out that way, and I was worried he was going to be a liability, but he was capable in pretty much every part of the movie. I really bought in when he touches the Titanosaurus and is overcome with emotion, because
that was good.
He's only ever seen these skeletons, and so he was somebody that I was willing to go on that ride with. I wasn't a fan so much of other characters in the movie, but if he comes back for further adventures, that's an endorsement from me.
Yeah. I did write down in my notes that scene with the Titanosaur where he touches the leg. That was some pretty good stuff. It seemed so earned, like it was real. It wasn't, sometimes an actor will become overcome with emotion, and it's just, but he doesn't oversell it. By the way, if you're wondering who this guy is, like I was, he's Fiyero in the Wicked movie. So this guy's on the rise. I mean, he's no Glenn Powell.
He could have been Indiana Jones.
Could Jonathan Bailey be Indiana Jones? I mean, from what I've seen so far, I don't hate the idea. But yeah, he was good in this movie. I think he's one of the better characters for sure. Cody, what else is good?
I'm going to go with some of the cast. Not all the cast.
Not all the cast?
Just some of the cast.
Should you tell us who you didn't like first? Would that be easier?
No. I'll just go with Scarlett Johansson worked well with what she was given. Mahershala, like all his scenes were earned.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're accomplished actors.
Yes.
They're good. And I mean, you could give them just these really vanilla scripts and I'm sure they'd be fine. And they're fine. Like, they're good in this movie. They're interesting.
And the French Caribbean guy, I liked him.
The French Caribbean guy who is Bakir Sylvain, who played Leclerc.
Yep.
Cody's seen everything he's in.
That's Cody's favorite actor.
Yeah.
His favorite stuff. Yeah, the music nods to John Williams' original score. I liked that. it came at the times where I thought it should come, where, like when we talked about this last week on the Be Kind Rewind, where you want the audience to feel a moment of awe. They're flying in or boating in or whatever it happens to be. That's the kind of times you want to bust out that song and find that connection point with the originals. And so I liked that. Jackson, anything else good?
Well, Cody touched on it a little earlier, but they actually made
The Odyssey?
made dinosaurs scary again. And that was something I felt was needed, because in the previous one or two, it became where, you know, it was almost more about the humans and dinosaurs just happened to be there. And, you know, as long as Chris Pratt could put his hands up, everybody was going to be okay.
Whoa. There will be no Chris Pratt slander on this podcast.
But, you know, and I know you mentioned that a lot of the escapes are happenstance, but I felt like that was more true to, you know, a reality of, yeah, I doubt they're making it out, but, you know, it's, well, they just get out in time, or things, they almost stumble their way out versus, you know, the hands are up and the dinosaurs are down type thing.
Can I push back a little bit, though?
Absolutely.
Are they dinosaurs? Because they're not really. They're genetically altered monsters.
All the original dinosaurs at Jurassic Park were genetically altered.
No!
They had frog DNA.
You know what I mean?
They had frog DNA.
That is such a technicality. That is just contrarian Cody being contrarian for the sake of being contrarian.
Can we pull a Mr. DNA and just call them dinosaurs?
I'm going to dinosaur upside his head in a second. You know what I mean. These are not real dinosaurs. Jurassic Park dinosaurs were real, except for the Triceratops, which turned out it was real, killing all our childhood dreams.
And I will say I bit at one part the raft with the T-Rex, and when it's the little girl, and I thought for a half second they went there.
They did not.
They did not.
Because I remembered in Jaws and, you know, Alex Kintner, and I'm like, Steven's done this before.
But
so
Steven's not at the
And
helm.
then I didn't realize, you know,
Well, when the Tyrannosaurus picks up the boat, I think if it looks like there's a little bulge in the boat, like you can see her body outlined in the boat, and I'm like, oh, they're really gonna do this. And the father, whoever plays the father,
Yeah, that guy was good.
gives out this like primordial scream that you believe you would give out when you see your daughter being munched by a T-Rex.
And I was willing to give it 3 stars if the movie had ended right there. But then it goes back to what we were talking about, is I think we've become too sanitized in our movies that we're not willing to pull that trigger. And I'm not advocating for that stuff as much as just take risks, make it something to talk about.
So I will say, I think this movie gets an A+ in Dino Peril.
Absolutely.
This one just has so much of it, and like it carries a good chunk of the movie. Is like, oh my goodness, how are they going to make it through all these dinosaurs that are clearly out to get you? And like even the aquatic dinosaurs that they are now acting like our orcas are killer whales that like, oh, we are going to start attacking boats. Take that, humanity.
Hunting in packs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're right. Like what you said earlier, it's clear from the bones of this movie that they may have started this off as, what if we did this like a horror movie? And you wonder, would it's been a more compelling journey in that style?
Because it became a hybrid movie, and I wasn't about a hybrid movie.
Yeah, everything's about its hybrid. Anything else that you think is good that you want to point out before we move on?
Capitalist Cody will say, great job with the product placement. My goodness, M&M's was everywhere. All the Mars candy bars. My goodness.
Yeah, by the way, when they're in the like little convenience store in the lab that hasn't been in 17 years, all that stuff looked impossibly clean.
Yep.
No dust, nothing. Like, come on now.
It did make me want a Dr. Pepper.
Everything does. Everything does. All right, Jackson, what's not so good?
Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, wow.
Burn!
He went there. Colin Jost is going to bust in here and beat you up.
Well, you're welcome for the notoriety.
Dang! He's going hardcore on the Scarlett Johansson family.
Like, for me...
You're not going to let Jackson explain that?
I will.
You're going to rebut him before he gets
No, I'm not going to rebut him at all. I'm going to say, like, maybe if you had Scarlett Johansson, like, at the start of her Black Widow time period, where she was probably at her most relevant, it might have done something extra, but otherwise, she was okay.
Yeah, I'm really interested to hear this. Break it down.
I just felt she was flat, and she tried for those emotional beats, and it was just Black Widow retread. It was, I've made a lot of mistakes. I've done a lot of bad things, and I'm going to try to use this money to atone for that. I missed my mom's funeral. And then, she takes that turn of, I'm going to get more money out of this guy. So it's like, oh, she's a scoundrel. She's in it for the money, and, it's not even enough money. She's got to have more money. And they try to really make her out like this real self-absorbed, greedy person, but she doesn't ever sell that to me. And then when she takes that turn in the middle of the movie of, we're going to give this to the general public instead of just this company, and foregoing all that money she was going to make, I don't know how she gets there. I don't see that turn in her. I never, for 1 second with Mahershala, he sells everything he's in. He's he sells those emotional beats. You get where he has that protection mindset where he's willing to go for that family, even though it gets in the way of the job. But it's a retread. It's flat. I was ready for her to go. I didn't get my wish.
Yeah, I don't know that it's necessarily her fault, but I'll get to that in a point I'll make here in a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Cody, do you have a rebuttal, or do you just want to move on to your own what's not so good?
I'll move on to my own. And that is, for this team being a bunch of special ops mercs that, like, oh, I'm Scarlett Johansson, special ops. Pull the trigger just willy-nilly, not even aiming, like it just slips. Like, what the heck? Well, like, her very first shot, she acted like she had never held a gun before. It was like, oh, I didn't know the trigger would go.
Yeah, they don't seem super capable, do they?
Don't forget Francis from Deadpool and his Orbeez gun.
Yeah. And he dies. I mean, what does he have? About 45 seconds of screen time before he kicks it?
44 seconds too much.
Well, and he's just shooting wildly. Like, you should be a marksman. You literally are talking about, like, how experienced you are, and then boom! It's like, this is our first day at the shooting range, and we're missing left and right.
Yeah, the mercenaries, they ain't exactly world's finest in this movie. They don't seem all that capable. In fact, they lose more men than the family does. The family of randoms.
Literally, they lose everyone that is not an A-name celebrity, and then the whole family survives.
Yeah.
That boyfriend. Whew.
Oh, is he the most unlikable comic relief character in one of these movies ever?
Absolutely. And I didn't buy the redemption that they tried to give him in the middle of the movie to make you like him. I was ready for him to go, even if it ended up being a heroic sacrifice.
I know. Give him a heroic sacrifice and let him do something redeemable. He literally says, I don't know why the girl likes me. And everyone in the audience is like, yeah, I don't see it. Why does anyone like this guy? He's the worst.
Well, because he has the devil's lettuce and he doesn't own shirts.
Oh man, yeah, he was a rough character for me all the way around.
Eats all of Dolores's licorice.
Yeah, like punk, stay off of Dolores's licorice. What's not so good? The characters were wafer thin. They had to get, like, you notice they had to give all the characters these like heartbreaking backstories, which are then delivered in clunky exposition. Like they have to make up a conversation for Scarlett Johansson and Mahershala Ali to have, so we know, the audience knows, they have these heartbreaking backstories and this grief that they're with. And it just is to kind of make us kind of care about them and make them seem human, because you're not going to do that through the course of the movie. You don't take any time to flesh them out as characters. And that's the problem. Like, one of the big problems I have with his movie is, like, you're introducing new characters. That's part of what this movie was supposed to be. Give me time to care about them.
Yeah, like Mahershala having to explain, my child's dead. And then Scarlett's like, oh, I lost my best friend on the last expedition that we did.
Yeah, I mean, we get them as grief-ridden, cynical people who just want money for 40 minutes of movie time, and then they want us to buy into this idea that by the end they're so protective of this family. And Mahershala Ali, which should have been, like, he almost pulls it off, like you said, but that should have been an amazing moment where he's like, let's screw the money. I want to save these kids. And it should have been this amazing moment, and I don't know that it ever really gets there because you're delivering it all through exposition.
And the dialogue was so clunky.
Part of the great thing about Jurassic Park, the original, is we get these moments before we get to the park. Like the 5 minutes they took with the Hammond arriving at the dig site, where Alan Grant is telling the little kid about the velociraptors and scaring him to death. Like, and the little bit of banter back and forth between him and Ellie Sattler. That gives the audience this level of, oh, hey, this is a normal conversation. It's not like, hey, just so you know, because it's going to be important later on in the movie for you to identify with me, you should know that this thing happened to me. Oh, man.
I really want you to seek something bigger than yourself. Like Mahershala saying that to Scarlett Johansson.
Who says that?
Mahershala. That's who.
The script writing's bad, man.
It is.
Super bad. Will say they established Jonathan Bailey just with a can of Altoids.
Jonathan Bailey, okay, you're right. His character might be the one that's the most fleshed out.
And it's because he studied with Dr. Alan.
He gets one line that attaches him to Alan Grant, and I'd swear that makes him more likable than any of the other ones. Because Alan Grant is a beloved character who is fleshed out.
When he was talking about the food chain and how the world will choose when they're done with humans, I can't remember the exact line. I was thinking he was going to invoke Ian Malcolm, and it never came, but that it was going to be the chaos theory.
I kept thinking that too. I kept thinking they were going to attach him to Malcolm in some way, like, oh, he's a nephew or something. But then when he delivers that Alan Grant line that he studied under them, it makes the payoff for that scene you talked about where he touches the dinosaur's leg and gets overcome with emotion. It pays that off wonderfully in a moment with no exposition. And I think that was the one character they did it right with.
Well, when they've spent the movie telling you, like, nobody cares about dinosaurs anymore. Nobody goes to the museums. That dinosaur that's in, I don't know if it's New York or San Francisco, wherever they start, it's an inconvenience. It's a hindrance to traffic.
Go ahead and die already.
Can we just talk about the irony of the 7th Jurassic movie pointing out that in their world no one cares about dinosaurs anymore, and like the commonality of like, well,
so for me, another thing that didn't work out was just how mustache twirling they made the pharmaceutical guy. Because like when the eldest daughter falls off the boat or is clinging onto the boat after being shoved out, like, she's like, oh, you let me fall, you were trying to kill me. And like, literally, there's fight, there's flight, and there's fright.
He panics,
and
right?
He literally could have just said, oh, I was in shock, and everyone would have been like, well, yeah, he's not a mercenary, he's a pharmaceutical guy.
Yeah.
Instead, he was deliberately trying to kill her, and he's deliberately trying to kill everyone.
Yeah, I want to consider it, but since he's a pharmaceutical guy, I'm going to allow it. He sucks.
But they're trying to paint capitalism as the worst thing ever.
Yeah. Suck it, capitalism.
And I'm like, I get it. But at the same time, this is a dinosaur movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is. All right. Anything else not so good that you guys want to point out?
I've already talked about the script, how clunky the dialogue was.
Yeah.
How bad the mercenaries were.
Yeah, I think we've covered it. Are there any deeper themes?
So many.
Oh, there's so many?
Yes.
Because all I wrote in my notes, life, finds a way. Which it seems like the only thing this movie has to say is what any of the older movies had to say. And that pharmaceutical reps are terrible.
That, for me, if you buy into the clunky script of there's something bigger, something of value or importance, and that is, for Scarlett, I think it was that she found a friend in the paleontologist, but also she realized how beneficial this could be for everyone, not just her and the upper 10%. Mm-hmm. And so it changed her perspective that there's something bigger and more important, and that everyone should have access to this. And I mean, that kind of goes back to what John Hammond wanted, was like everyone to have access to its park. Mm-hmm. And now everyone to have access to this life-saving heart medication.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had to dig for it, but I found it.
Yeah, I guess that's the part of the movie I'm just not real convinced about. I think that's the problem, is I'm not, like Jackson said, I'm not super convinced that those characters would have actually done that.
Well, so when you make a horror movie and then try to blend it with bioethics in a heist movie also, like, something has to give. And it, like, that part definitely suffers.
From Scarlett Johansson's point of view, her character, they could have sold me on it more if they do more to subtly give us the connection she's building with the scientist, the archaeologist guy. Like, why do they not play that up a little bit more like they did with Grant and Ellie in the original, where, oh, hey, she likes this guy? Because I kept waiting for that, and they never really do that.
Well, and he never pushes her. Like, they have maybe one or two conversations, and suddenly she's on board with what he's saying. He doesn't really have to convince her, and there's no conflict. And I understand, dinosaur movie, don't let human drama get in the way.
But it doesn't take that long.
Yeah.
And it would have made her turn believable.
Absolutely.
If she has affection for this guy, which I kept waiting for, and we never really get to see.
Well, and even admiration, because I know there's that sect of people that don't want everything to turn into love interest and things like that.
But it doesn't even have to be that. Like, we just got done talking about Jurassic Park, and one of the best parts of it, I think Cody talked about it, was that we get over the course of the movie, Alan Grant doesn't like kids at the beginning. We get his affection for those kids. Mm-hmm. And like, that's all we needed, was some affection between Scarlett Johansson and our guy, Jonathan Bailey. Dr. Loomis. I don't even remember his name. That's how thin these characters are. I don't remember their names. I just refer to them as the actors.
He'll go on to study Michael Myers.
Did you guys do the Recast It? Did you guys do that? It's okay if you didn't.
So just one character that you would recast, or the whole cast?
Yeah, no, just one. Just one character. Make the movie better by recasting one character.
Okay, so I recasted the eldest daughter. And I'm going with Jenna Ortega.
Okay, that would have brought the...
I'm going with, like, star power, because it's like...
Yeah.
This script, it's thin, so you gotta bloat it with big names.
Or I mean, you could admit that character was already sort of annoying by the way she blew up with the pharmaceutical rep, like Jackson was saying, misconstrued and convoluted a little bit. What if it was Rachel Ziegler? That might have fit. That might have worked well.
It could have been.
Let's use that energy.
Although I think Jenna brings enough angst.
Yeah, I like Jenna Ortega. She would have been good in that. I had Jesse Plemons. You might remember Jesse Plemons from Black Mirror, Killers of the Flower Moon, and of course, I was first exposed to him in television's Friday Night Lights as the backup quarterback's best friend. But he was also in Civil War as in the meme, well, what kind of American are you? That guy. Because you would believe if you recast him in Rupert Friend's part, the pharmaceutical bad guy, you would believe that Jesse Plemons would fund dinosaur experiments in the name of pharmaceutical innovation. Then he'd smile through a Senate congressional hearing on the matter and then feed someone to a genetically modified velociraptor, all before his morning coffee. He's weird, he's watchable, he's memorable. He's just subtly psychopathic when he wants to be. I think he would have been great in that role. And he wouldn't have cost a lot of money, right? You're already spending the money on Scarlett Johansson and Mahershala. And at this point, I think Jurassic villains I think they should have spent more on the villain this time.
Or just let the villain be the dinosaurs.
Okay. All right, Jackson.
Did you recast it?
Did you do a recast? It's okay if you didn't. We can move on.
All right. I did not.
Who's the winner of the movie?
I am going to go with Dolores.
All the marketing.
Well, and honestly, when you say that, I was expecting, because I jumped on Amazon right as I got out of the theater, expecting to find all the Dolores merch I could ever want. There's a Lego set and a vastly overpriced interactive small dinosaur, but I felt like that was kind of what I took away, because I didn't really care for the big bad dinosaur. It didn't do anything during the movie to really make me be endeared by it. But I feel like Dolores is going to be the thing that that's what I remember when I look back at this movie, because I don't know how memorable this movie is going to be. And it's kind of like, as you mentioned, Grogu, like people remember Baby Yoda, but then if you ask them, well, what's Baby Yoda from? They're not really picking that up. So. Yeah.
It's the little baby dinosaur. What's his name again? Dolores is sort of like if this movie were James Cameron's Aliens movie, that dinosaur is Newt.
Yep.
It's just a little cute. Like in Aliens, it was the little cute kid who's just there for kind of, oh, cute, save her. That's what the dinosaur, it really serves no purpose other than to maybe ease the fear of the younger ones. Maybe. You get the feeling like they added that Dolores in, somewhere around the time where they decided they didn't want to make this a full-on horror movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cody, who's the winner of the movie?
I'll kind of piggyback off Jackson. Dino merch!
Dynamite!
Like, they're going to make bank, because every time these movies come out, and then they sell all the toys, and then people have to buy all the toys, and kids are like, I need some dinosaur toys, and there's just dino everything. And so
I'll say it again, these aren't dinosaurs.
Dino merch is happening. And I think this movie will make money in theaters, but I also know it'll make money on the backside through its retail merch.
Yeah. You know who really wins this movie after being the loser last week? It's Michael Crichton. Not because he had anything to do with this movie. He's been gone for years, but because this movie proves that no one can really pull this off without him. The original Jurassic Park worked not just because Spielberg was doing Spielberg things, even though he was, and he changed the feel of the story to be more Spielbergian. The backbone of that story is still Crichton's original novel, and Crichton's story had layers: science, ethics, awe, terror, all woven into something that was smart and thrilling, and every movie since has basically been summed up by people running from dinosaurs. And is that fun sometimes? Sure. But the soul of all of these stories, why it matters, I think it left with Crichton. He didn't just write a monster story. He wrote a cautionary tale. It was about hubris. It was about control. It was about the limits of human knowledge. And that's still, I think, the backbone of the franchise, even if it's buried under CGI and Dino Ex Machina and fake dinosaurs. So we'll call this Crichton's Revenge, because in the end, I think without his intelligent layered story, it seems that the Jurassic franchise is pretty thin to me. Jackson, who's your loser of the movie?
Mahershala Ali.
Oh, okay. Why?
Because, and we've touched on it already, but I feel like in having that scene changed to where he lives,
yeah,
you don't remember that character. You know, his big arc and his big moment to where, you know, he truly makes that change of, it's not about the money. It's, you know, I'm using my tragic past and I'm trying to atone and things like that. That sacrifice would have given you that. And that sacrifice is something we would have remembered in this movie. You know, we go back to those characters in Jurassic Park that died, and, you know, maybe not so much in the newer ones, but it took the movie down about a half star for me just on that piece alone. And he's just another guy.
Yeah.
You know, he's not any different from Scarlett Johansson, Jonathan Bailey, or any of the other family.
Yeah, it's like they forgot what sacrificial means. Like, to sacrifice, which is what makes it interesting, you have to lay down your life. And
it was an emotional scene, and it was earned by what he had mentioned prior. And, you know, I was going on that journey, and then as soon as they cut away, I knew, and I didn't want to jinx it, but I knew he didn't go. And then, of course, he comes right back out. And the one thing that I can say for that, though, is the movie ends 5 minutes later. So I don't know if you can do this big grand death and then be like, credits.
Yeah, that's true. Cody, who's the loser of the movie?
For me, it is Gareth Edwards.
Oh, the director, Gareth Edwards.
Yes.
Tell us.
I mean, he was kind of a big deal when he burst on the scene with his Godzilla movie. So, like, he's into monsters in horror, and you can see that at the beginning. Mm-hmm. And at moments you get it with the some of those dino scenes of will they, won't they, dino peril. But, like, it just feels clunky and meshed together weirdly. Like, I don't know why we needed a family yachting across the Atlantic. I don't know why we needed Altoids every 2 minutes. And you guys really liked the scene where the paleontologist is touching the dinosaur, and I'm like, dude's getting kicked.
Cody has no feelings.
Dude is getting kicked.
Maybe.
Or stomped.
Maybe.
And so, and like, it was weird, like the mating ritual that was happening during that with the tails.
That was very anime.
Yeah, it reminded me of Avatar.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm taken out of this. So it didn't feel like a Jurassic Park or a Jurassic World movie. And if you had leaned fully into the horror, I would have been there for it. But since you didn't, it was a dud. If
you lean more into the horror, I don't mind that you're taking away from the kids, right? Mm-hmm. Because you're doing something different and original, and I might be for it. But since you don't, I have to do this. And I hate to say it, but the loser of this movie are dinosaur-loving kids. You know the ones. The ones that can pronounce Pachycephalosaurus before they can spell their own names. The ones who get really giddy when they spot the Stegosaurus toy at the Dollar Tree. This franchise was all about kids moment. It's supposed to be cinematic wish fulfillment, like seeing dinosaurs. But this movie doesn't even care enough about actual dinosaurs to have them in there. And when they do, it's the best scene in the whole movie. I think that for me, my money, the T-Rex river scene is the best scene.
For a split second, when the raptors appear, I was like, yeah!
The one time you see a raptor, it gets eaten quick in some Dino Ex Machina.
Sneak in a loser, but Cody took it.
Also, while we're getting a pee joke.
Yep.
Because that's high-class cinema right there. Somewhere Scorsese was just shaking his head. What we've got in this movie are genetically modified mutant hybrid creatures cooked up in a lab because someone thought a raptor wasn't scary enough unless it had scorpion DNA and laser-guided missile targeting or something. I don't know. It's like Dr. Evil was in charge of writing this movie.
No B.D. Wong in this movie.
These aren't dinosaurs. These are Saturday morning cartoon villains with claws. And so if you're a kid who just wants to see real, honest-to-goodness dinosaurs do their thing, sorry, this franchise and science has left the building and the monsters have taken over. Rotten Tomato check. This is a 51% currently on Rotten Tomatoes, 72% audience score, so audiences are liking it a little better, and I can see why. It's the action's enough, I think, on the level to be like, it's an enjoyable 2 hours of sitting in a movie theater in the summer.
Yep.
Jake Wilson from the Sydney Morning Herald thinks it's fresh, and he said Jurassic World Rebirth can only be recommended for a specific age group, roughly between 10 and 14. Any younger and the set pieces might be too intense. Any older and they're likely to see this material as so familiar it hardly needs reviving. And that's a positive review. You disagree?
Like,
I mean, he's kind of trying to be funny, but
he is trying to be funny. And I agree that it definitely is for an older group, but like, I don't know if the set pieces were super familiar. It just because, like you said, these aren't your standard dinosaurs, and this wasn't your standard Jurassic Park movie.
Yeah. Rachel Leichman from the Mary Sue also thought it was fresh. Gareth Edwards made a fun summer blockbuster. It isn't reinventing the franchise, but it does show a clear path forward. Does it?
Do
we need more stories with these characters?
I don't need any more with the ones that they just showed us. But like, if they want to lean into the horror genre of it, yeah, go for it.
Like, I don't even know how you write a sequel to this with these
felt
characters.
Episodic more than it did.
Yeah,
like, but the rebirth part of things, I didn't pick that up so much.
But I alluded to the idea that Mahershala Ali clearly is saved because the studio probably wants to use him if they make another movie. And I'm just sitting here like, I'm not really sure how you write another story with these characters going to one of these islands, because it'd be like the Emperor in the last Star Wars movies. Like, somehow we have to go back, you know, like.
Or do people start turning into dinosaurs because of this heart medication?
Two reviews I'll hit in quick style because they were funny. Richard Whitaker from the Austin Chronicle says life can stop finding a way now.
Ayo.
And Barry Hertz from Globe and Mail says Rebirth, this is a burial.
Ayo again.
Jackson, how many unnecessary sequels out of 10 are you giving this movie?
Honestly, with what Fallen Kingdom and Dominion did to my Jurassic Park fandom, this was a breath of fresh air. This wasn't an insult to me. So I'm going to go 7 unnecessary sequels out of 10.
Jackson's being generous. Okay. Cody?
I'll go 6.
Wow.
Like, it was enjoyable. It was a popcorn movie. I didn't really appreciate like some of the heavy-handed overtones that they were trying to hit you with. Like, stick to one storyline. We don't need like 5 going on at once.
Yeah.
You clearly didn't mesh it well. Focus on one and do that good, and then try expanding.
I put this one at a 5, and I thought to explain that, because 5 for me is just middle. It's there. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It's just there. And I thought I would rank the Jurassic movies, and I wrote a little line for each one to kind of explain it. You ready? Mm-hmm. Number 1, Jurassic Park. Still the undisputed king. I don't know how anything comes close to that. Made Chaos Theory and A Cup of Water iconic.
And green Jello.
Number 2 is what did I put? Oh, Jurassic World.
I was going to say the first Jurassic World should be here first.
A surprisingly fun revival. Basically, Jurassic Park, if it had been run by Instagram influencers and corporate sponsors. That's kind of the framework of that movie. Yeah. 3, I have, and I know someone might disagree with this. I have Jurassic Park 3. Talking Raptor Dream aside, that I know Jackson doesn't like, and the satellite phone and the dinosaur stomach. If you remember that movie. But at least it knew what it was, and it wasn't pretending to be profound. Like, it was just kind of like this movie. It's like, there's people on the island we need to rescue. We need to get them and get out.
Yep.
Number 4, The Lost World Jurassic Park 2. I think Jeff Goldblum did his best, but nothing can kind of save that energy of Vince Vaughn as serious environmental activist, which has to be the most awful miscast ever.
It's up there.
Even though I really like Vince Vaughn. And then number 5, I have this movie, Jurassic World Rebirth. And this is what I thought. I couldn't quite put this into words until I thought about this last night. You know those like paint by numbers books we used to get as kids?
Yep.
Where they weren't really using paint. You would dip the brush into a cup of water, and then you would brush the wet brush over the page that had like color imprinted on it, and it would smear it around. This movie is like hiring Bob Ross to do those color by number books. You've got talent in front of the camera, you got talent behind the camera, and it just is like too simple. It's too ugh. So that's the best way I can sum up this movie. Number 6, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
I had Fallen Kingdom above Lost World.
Dinosaurs in a haunted mansion. Bold, I guess, but weird. It's like someone dared the writers to mash up Jurassic Park and Downton Abbey. Like, what if it was in a Downton Abbey episode? Number 7, and coming up in the rear, Jurassic World Dominion.
Yeah, that one is absolutely the worst.
Which is truly trash, including a character who's like out of time and belongs in an Indiana Jones movie. Go back and listen to our pod on it. We had fun with it because it was so bad. Also, there's more screen time for the locusts, the bugs, than the dinosaurs.
I will say Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom has maybe one of the saddest dinosaur deaths.
The volcano. Yeah.
And literally my wife will not go back and watch that movie because she cried during that scene because we left.
She has
some dinosaurs back on the island.
She has emotional flashbacks when she hears.
Exactly.
All right. Well, go see this movie if you haven't, and hope you like it, and tell us what you think when you do go see it, and make sure and comment on the social media posts for this. You should be on the lookout because next week we're going to do a Be Kind Rewind on a Superman movie, and we're going to let y'all choose.
Brandon Routh.
We could do the Brandon Routh movie, Little Superman Returns. Jackson, which would be the one you think?
Batman versus Superman.
Oh, gosh.
BVS.
Please don't be BVS. Please.
Martha.
We'll let you guys pick, and then we'll do the Be Kind Rewind of the Superman movie to get ready for the new one. And that's it. So we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys, for listening.